All right, what's up, weirdos? What's going on, my friends? Another day, another dollar. Bitcoin can't decide what it wants to do after Powell has another speech today. We're going to get into it, guys. We got a lot to dive into. Once again, it's going to be another longer one, guys. Let's get into it. Let's get into the chat. What do we have? A couple super chats. Kev says patience will pay off soon enough, everyone. Thanks, Rob. Hey, I got your back, brother. I got your back. Ramona says, hit the likes on your way in. Absolutely, guys. Smash them, whack them, crack them. Hit those likes. Big Kev dropping that cheddar. He says, good morning. With so much fear and uncertainty in the markets, I think things are about to melt faces and shock everyone. Let's go. As Gary says, LFG, and he's taking Pico with him. Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. One of the biggest catalysts, or I don't want to say catalysts, but one of the biggest kind of bullish metrics that I notice, guys, is when you start to see people in the chat, in the comment section, over on X, everywhere, you start seeing the comments, there's not going to be an altcoin season, the bull run is over, we're going into a bear market. When you start to see those people, those are who we classify as the paper hands, the weak hands, the emotional investors, right? Who respond based on emotion, right? Obviously. When they start making those comments, that is a very clear indicator that we've most likely hit a local bottom and we're headed up, right? Because those are the people who create the volatility. They panic sell at the bottoms because they think the bull run's over. And then when Bitcoin runs back up and we're sitting back up over 120, 121, 123, they'll start buying back in again, right? And then it will have another correction and they'll sell the bottom again and they'll get angry and they'll tell you the bull run's over. And it's a rinse and repeat cycle with them because they cannot control their emotions, right? They don't even realize that they're not in control of their emotions. That's the sad part about it. But the fact of the matter is this: we need those people to exist in crypto because otherwise the volatility is not there. We need the masses to be emotional, right? Because otherwise they're not selling the bottoms for us to buy and they're not buying the tops for us to sell, right? So we love those people. We need those people, right? So yeah. Anyway, let's get into the chat a little bit, see what's going on. H. Barbarina in his house. What's going on, buddy? Another local says, hey, Robin fam, Jasmine lasagna, anyone? Your analogy on the roundtable with legends Max and Rue, absolutely. I am a lasagna guy. Quinn, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Blessings, John. Smash the likes. Super fantastic. Do it. Matt, what's up, buddy? Working while watching. There you go. Thomas in the house. What's going on? Swiftcoin all the way. Amen. Can I get an amen for Swiftcoin? Crypto Blueprint, y'all. Absolutely. Beebs, my guy. What's up, buddy? Crypto Blueprint Millionaires. There you go. Hey, Rob, I'm starting to feel like my 3-month subscription is starting to pay off. Thanks for all that you do. Hey, absolutely, brother. Absolutely, my friend. We are here for you. Guys, make sure you're hitting the like and subscribe on the way in. We got 178 people watching. We have, how many likes do we have? 64. Let's get the likes up to 100, guys. Ty, good to see you, buddy. Good to see you, man. It's me, Mario. Good morning, Familia Future. What's up, man? Get those pennies into your favorite crypto coins, not financial advice. Beeb says October 21st, the Fed will discuss digital currencies and stable coins. Is this the beginning of Trump's Project Yorktown? Interesting. Something we're going to have to keep an eye on, man. Joy, what's going on? Good to see you. She says, hit the like button. Robin, hey, Rob, Caesar spoke today about Bitcoin moving sideways for 2 weeks. What do you expect from Bitcoin and Ethereum in the short term? Yeah, I could see Bitcoin consolidating kind of in a range it's in right now for a couple of weeks. It's got to build up some momentum, build some strength. Absolutely, right? And listen, here's the thing. Another factor is that we need, what the market's going to do now, the market makers, whatever you want to call them, what they're going to do is they're going to give us just enough to make people think that we're going further down, right? You're already seeing articles today about Bitcoin going down to 107. And if 107 doesn't hold, where's it going to go from there? You're already seeing that stuff, right? Well, actually, I'm going to cover it today. But when you start to see that stuff, what they're doing is they're convincing you that everything's going lower. That's usually a sign that we're not going lower. So what they're doing is they're allowing the shorts to pile on, right? They want like a good solid 20 billion in shorts so that they can liquidate all of them and move up, right? So don't be surprised. Don't be surprised at all for the market to give you just enough to think we're going down, and then boom, we skyrocket to the upside on a massive short squeeze. So Beeb says Ondo Finance acquired Oasis Protocol, obtaining important SEC licenses. Don't sleep on Ondo. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Big C, what's up, man? Been stocking up on crypto and precious metals. Yeah, got to get those maples, brother. Ray, what's up? Help the channel and smash the likes. Absolutely, Gamecast. I'm still here, Rob. Don't get to comment much because of work. Please hurry with the Nadix video. I'm sitting on 7 million. Yeah, it's on my list. The Nadix video is on my list to do. Big C says, hit the likes. There she is. Gamma Goddess in the house. She says, hope everyone's doing well. Let's stay focused and get this money. Brave Heart, the financial future of LFG and Pico investors. Bullish. Absolutely. Jake the Snake, when I scream Jasmine at people on the street, they never know what I'm talking about. Like the prophets of old. Harasan has our backs. Yes, that's coming up fast, guys. I am excited. Do you realize next month, about 5 to 6 weeks from now, I will be at Jasmine Labs filming a documentary on Jasmine in Tokyo, Japan. I'm very excited about this. Very excited. If you didn't know, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the like and subscribe so that you can check out. It's going to be a 2 to 3 part documentary series covering my visit to Jasmine Labs. I was fortunate enough that Hara invited me down to interview and film inside Jasmine Labs and stuff. It's going to be a great time. What do we got? BBP still holding ZBEC and XRP from the bottom. There we go. Beebs, with countries like China, Japan, Saudi Arabia, etc. buying up the U.S. debt, do you think stablecoins can get the U.S. out of the financial stranglehold that they're? I think it can help. Jake the Snake says, stop asking what crypto can do for you. Instead, ask yourself what you can do for crypto. Join the Patreon today, baby. Absolutely. Crypto J505. What's up, man? Good to see you. Jared, just happy to be here. Buying what I can while I can. That's the attitude you got to have, man. Thomas says, Powell's speech bringing price in. He already spoke, and it was kind of a nothing burger as expected. He's the master of being neutral, right? So right now we have the market trying to decipher what the Fed is talking about. Dave, what's up, buddy? Good to see you. You know me, the best cup of coffee I ever spent. Have a one-on-one booked with Rob today. How about you? Time to join the Patreon, folks. Hit the like and subscribe on your way in. Exactly. Jake the Snake says, the shocker. William, good to see you, buddy. EZ, that's not going to be there's not going to be an alt season. The bull is over. I sold it all. I don't believe you. What about Swift Coin? I'm scared. I'm really in the red. Well, I mean, listen, smart buyers, I can't tell you what to do, but when people are in the red, smart buyers continue to accumulate. It's that simple, man, right? What's up, Alex? Good to see you, buddy. Can you check out Vara? We'll see if I can check it out later. I have a lot of news to get through, brother. Another local says ZBEC officially trading on. Is it? I thought it wasn't until tomorrow. Oh, it's UTC time, isn't it? Yeah. Ditto says Ondo 2029. Amen to that. Thoughts on Swift? Swift's one of my biggest bags, man. I'm not worried about Swift at all. I don't know why you are, right? Nothing has changed in the fundamentals of Swift Coin since you bought it. The team hasn't changed. The fundamentals haven't changed. In fact, they've done nothing but add bullishness and stuff to what they're producing. So I can't imagine why you would be bearish on it now as opposed to when you bought it. Nothing's changed, right? Except your emotions. That's it. Danny, what's up, buddy? Sweet emotion. Bring in that money. There you go. Big John, pretty rich. Let's get this money. Matt, Jasmine Lab sounds cool. Can't wait. Yes, I'm excited about it. Diamond Hands. Cody in the house. What's up, man? Robin, BTC 140 end of the month still. Yeah, that's still my target. Strawberry Dragon in my fiat prison listening in the background. Yeah. Let's get me retired soon. Yes, Danny. You will love it. You'll love it over there, Rob. Exactly. Good morning, Rob and 10%ers. Wendy in the house. Oh, house, I'm really trying not to buy anything. I've got to leave dry powder for buy orders. It's really hard. Yeah, I know. It's hard. It's tempting, man. It's tempting. Wendy says, smash the like button on the way in. Don't kick Rob in the nuts. Exactly. Exactly. Hit the like button, not the nuts. Let's go, guys. Okay. Let's get into the news a little bit here. Bitcoin, we got to get back above 114K for the daily close. We're sitting, it's good we're above 112,565, but we want to get back above 114. We seem to be stuck below the 100-day moving average, sitting at 115,445. We want to get above and close above that, to be honest with you, but one step at a time, right? One step at a time, guys. All right. JD Beats. Yo, Rob, heard of Monad, M-O-N? Mainnet launches soon. No, I've never heard of them, man. I have never heard of them. Okay, let's get into the news. I'll have to look deeper into them, my friend. Terry, thank you, friend. Hey, no problem, brother. No problem. All right, let's get this going here. Altcoins may be poised for a major comeback after historic liquidations. AF, happy Tuesday, brother. Good to see you. What many feared was the start of a prolonged downturn is now being a reset moment, one that often precedes major uptrends in digital assets. Market researcher Bull Theory argued that this violent correction is a recurring feature that every crypto cycle rather than a signal of collapse. And that's the thing I've talked about, guys, hundreds of times, right? Everyone looks back on the 2021 bull run and they're like, oh, it was so easy then. It was such a good time. This is a different cycle. It's so hard now with all these corrections. You can't see the forest through the trees, guys. There was from November 20th, from November of 2020 to November of 2021, which was the final 12 months of the last bull run, right? There were 15 corrections that ranged from 11% to 44%. I would say an average of about 25% across 15 corrections in 12 months. Okay, it wasn't as easy breezy lemon squeezy as people seem to remember. You just don't remember the red days and all the turmoil years later after you've made life-changing wealth for yourself. You look back on it like it was easy, and this time it's hard. So it always seems harder when you're going through it, but when you look back on it, you know, it seems like it was easy. I don't know. Anyway. The analysts compared the recent wipeouts to the March of 2020 pandemic crash and the May 2021 slump. Both, the 2021 slump is the 44% correction I was talking about, right? In 2021, Bitcoin had corrected 44% in May. Could you imagine? We just saw Bitcoin correct like 8%, 8.5% on the daily candle close, right? And people freaked out and lost their minds. Imagine how these people would respond to a 44% correction on Bitcoin if they can't handle an 8.5% correction, right? Yeah, doesn't sound so easy now, does it? 2021. Both of which saw the market rebound dramatically within months. Each steep decline felt like the end of the cycle, yet every one marked the beginning of a major recovery. Altcoins endured the worst of the sell-off as leverage evaporated across exchanges. Tokens like Solana, Dogecoin, Cardano, Chainlink, and XRP plunged between 18 to 30% within 24 hours. Still, some analysts believe the pullback could ignite a new rotation into smaller cap assets once selling pressure fades. Trader Ash Crypto recalled that after the 2020 crash, altcoins skyrocketed as market sentiment flipped from fear to greed. We saw projects gain 25 to 100x back then, a reminder that deep corrections often plant the seeds for future rallies. Momentum indicators are starting to echo previous bull cycle recoveries. Analyst Merlin, the trader, pointed to a developing bullish MACD crossover on Bitcoin's ratio chart against altcoins, a signal that also appeared ahead of a major surge in both 2017 and 2021. If history rhymes, the setup could be a technical confirmation traders have been waiting for. Despite the turbulence, some metrics hint that the market is already stabilizing. Total capitalization briefly slipped below 4 trillion before steadying, while Bitcoin dominance, a key barometer of altcoin strength, has dipped under 59% for the first time in months. That decline often precedes phases where capital rotates from Bitcoin into higher risk tokens. If analysts are right, the recent chaos could soon give way to a broad-based recovery, one that marks the start of a new chapter for speculative altcoins and the third major alt season in crypto history. Are we about to see something absolutely face melting? Sorry guys, my throat is, I'm losing my voice for some reason. Big John says, Zebek, absolutely. Benjamin, good to see you, man. Wiener, oh wow, check out the Russell. Maybe closer to the end of the stream, I'll see if I can do that. Oh, how it's Rob, please, I want a 40% correction to buy more. Oh, that would be so amazing, man. And he says, my dude, 50 push-ups on hold, broken ribs, excuse, but more manning up. You have to do squats then, brother. You have to do 50 squats. There you go. No cop-outs. All right, let's segue over to Squawk Box and see what's going on over there, guys. WF Capital in the house. What's going on, buddy? I see you. I see you perping. Keep moving forward. Still think Miriam at 40 cents plus? Yes, I still think that it's possible, man. I have not. None of my prices have changed as of yet. So, all right, we're going to be relying on Chinese rare earth minerals for quite some time, says Ben Imans. Let's check it out.
Of U.S. rare earth miners jumped yesterday and have been on the move for the past month. The sector getting an initial boost after President Trump threatened tariffs on China, and J.P. Morgan Chase yesterday released a $1.5 trillion plan, including up to $10 billion for critical mineral investments. Yesterday on Squawk Box, Wharton's Jeremy Siegel told us that, in his words, it is scandalous that the United States doesn't have a rare earths reserve. Joining us right now is Ben Emmons. He is FedWatch Advisors founder and CIO. And Ben, right about the time Jeremy was saying that, I was reading through a note that you put out yesterday that really shed a lot of light on how we got to this position and some of the roadblocks that would need to be removed before we can fix it. And I was hoping you could kind of walk us through that. Thank you for being here this morning.
Absolutely, Becky. Thank you for having me, and good morning. Well, you know, we had rare earth mining in 2002 in the mountain passes. Let's say the only mine really active at that time. And China was already producing a fair bit of rare earths. It was dumping it out there on the global market. So the price of rare earth mining went down significantly, put that mine out of business. And so we stopped doing this rare earth mining altogether. And I think if you look back at that decision, obviously there was a very strategic mistake, if you will, because today we're dealing with a shortage of rare earths that we critically need, particularly for military equipment. So if you kind of walk forward now from where we are today, the US maybe produces about 1 or 2% of the actual amount of rare earths that it would need to match what China produces today, which is about 270,000 metric tons annually. And then importantly from that is actually what they call the heavy rare earths, which are needed for military equipment. That we don't have any kind of capacity in the United States to get that out of the ground. Not only that, but we actually don't have it in the United States.
Yeah, we don't geologically have it in the United States, was what really
Correct.
Caught my attention, that we stopped doing this because China was dumping it in our markets, and it was no longer, from a capitalist point of view, something that was worth pursuing. We don't have a national policy the way China's centrally run government does. So we got caught off guards by that. But even if we wanted to ramp things up, we don't geologically have the heavy rare earths. And those are the things that are important for defense. So what do we do about that? What are the options?
Well, maybe a few, as we don't have it here, then we have to go elsewhere. So Greenland has been a focus because that holds about 38.5 million of unexplored heavy rare earth deposits. And the White House has put out some ideas about this compact of free association with sort of a special status agreement that they could perhaps go to Greenland without taking its sovereignty, and then in exchange with Denmark for some infrastructure investments, start doing this rare earth mining exploration. But as you say, it takes really time to actually get that sufficiently out of the ground. The estimates are anywhere from 7 to 10 years to have a mine fully operational and to produce what we actually need. So we're going to be reliant on Chinese rare earth minerals for quite some time.
Yeah, there is a Defense Act, under the National Defense Authorization Act. The United States has to eliminate Chinese-sourced rare earths from all defense magnets by January 1st of 2027. How long does it take to find another source for that? Are we going to be able to do that?
I'm not sure we actually will, Becky. I'm afraid that this is kind of a difficult situation. You sort of analyze the data, right? It's like they want to remove it by 2027, yet it's drastically needed because the Pentagon has stockpiled some of this. But by estimates, it's running out by sometime around that time, 2027, 2028. And so you're going to have to go to Greenland and mine it there. And as I mentioned, it takes a long time. Otherwise, you're going to have to buy it in from other countries. And China is the main producer. There's not any other country out there that produces it the same magnitude as China does, readily available. And so this is, I think, an alarming situation. Obviously, it's got the attention from the administration. Takes the stake into,
right now.
One of the rare earth companies, but that's not sufficient. That's more for the private sector. For the military, it's a different story.
Yeah, so the investments we've seen from the U.S. government to this point are one thing. What did you think of J.P. Morgan's announcement yesterday that they'd be willing to make significant investments in this as well?
That was somewhat surprising because you would think this is really an administration initiative because it's for national security. So J.P. Morgan sees, I guess, a commercial opportunity here in addition to support to the country, I presume, but it is actually a more private, initiative to gain because, you don't invest without making return on it. So for JP Morgan, this is I guess they see a capital investment opportunity here. But even though they do this, it's an interesting story, but it doesn't really take away the issue that we're discussing, that you may get these lighter earth minerals out of the ground and help the EV sector or the auto sector, or maybe some other industries, but I think you still deal with the shortfall for the military, and I think this is the real bottleneck. Unless we find other sort of types of technology to get it faster out of the ground, which is again very daunting. It seems to be really challenging compared to, let's say, to mine gold today. That's a much easier way to mine, but there's a lot less available of it. So rare earth minerals, by the way, there's actually abundance in supply. There's a fair bit of out there in the globe, Vietnam and Ukraine and Argentina. There's also pockets there. But it takes a long time to get it out of the ground.
That's why Trump just jumped all over that, guys. That's why that's such a contentious point right now. Got to solve these problems, man. Got to solve these problems, right? House, refineries are no longer accepting junk silver. They have, yes, I agree, man. Seriously struggling not to buy B3 at these prices. I know it's hard for me to not just buy everything, man. Like just buy everything, right? That's. I mean, not financial advice. You guys got to do what you got to do. But for me, it's a struggle not to just, go nuts buying stuff right now. Candyman, I went for a job interview at FedEx. I said, sorry, I'm late. I went to the wrong address. They made me regional manager. Nice. Oh, that's a good one. I like that one, brother. I like that one. XRP Army calls for Binance boycott. Here's why. A new wave of activism is sweeping through the XRP community as members rally behind a growing call to boycott Binance, the world's largest cryptocurrency exchange by trading volume. The movement, gaining traction across X, is driven by frustrations over perceived misconduct and market manipulation. What began as murmurs of dissent among XRP holders has now evolved into an organized push to withdraw funds from Binance. both as a protest and a proactive measure, protective measure. Leading the charge is Levy, what would you call him, Levy? Founder of the Crypto Crusaders channel and a well-known voice in the XRP community. In a recent video he posted on X, Levy made a passionate appeal for action, declaring, quote, "The only way for us really to get Binance and the other major exchanges to do the right thing is to put our money where our mouth is. If you have any money still on Binance, if you're holding any amount of BNB, you need to withdraw from that exchange, get it somewhere else on another exchange that's actually doing the right thing." Not financial advice. His statement quickly went viral among XRP enthusiasts, many of whom echoed his sentiment. His direct and uncompromising tone has galvanized a segment of the XRP army who believes the moral and financial accountability should go hand in hand in the crypto industry. The boycott movement draws much of its momentum from Binance's turbulent regulatory history. In November of 2023, the exchange and its founder, CZ, reached a landmark plea deal with the U.S. authorities admitting to violations of anti-money laundering and sanctioned laws. Binance agreed to pay $4.3 billion in penalties, and CZ himself stepped down as CEO after pleading guilty to criminal charges. To many XRP supporters, those events confirmed long-standing suspicions that centralized exchanges wield too much unchecked power. Levy and others have cited this as a warning that crypto's foundational principles, self-custody, has been undermined by the dominance of exchanges that operate above regulatory scrutiny. Beyond regulatory issues, Binance has faced renewed criticism over alleged market manipulation and opaque trading practices. On-chain analysts and independent investigators have highlighted irregular transfer patterns between Binance wallets and certain market makers, Wintermute, particularly during volatile XRP movements. While Binance has reportedly denied engaging in manipulative trading, you don't say. The allegations have intensified community distrust. For Levy, the takeaway is clear. You can't demand transparency from governments and regulators while turning a blind eye to platforms that control most of your liquidity. Should this boycott gain traction, the impact could be twofold. In the short term, large-scale withdrawals could tighten exchange liquidity for XRP and BNB, potentially affecting short-term price dynamics. In the long run, however, it could encourage a shift towards decentralized exchanges or DEXs, the self-custody wallets reinforcing crypto's original ethos of financial sovereignty. I personally use only self-custody wallets, and of course our channel sponsor, Decent Biometric Wallet, is the one that I choose. Levy's rallying cry is ultimately about reclaiming control. It's time to stop complaining and start acting, he said. Every token you move is a message that cannot be ignored. So, we'll see if a boycott of Binance, not just from the XRP army, but from crypto enthusiasts in general, gains any kind of traction. I would hope so, because I do believe that Binance was one of the causes of that market manipulation crash that we saw, and I believe they need to be held accountable. Investing in financial assets have really produced superior outcomes.
Joining us right now to talk about what's going on these markets, which have been on a bit of a roller coaster, Emily Rowland, co-chief investment strategist at Manulife John Hancock Investments. We got a whole bunch of earnings coming up this week. We've had this sort of seesaw situation since Friday when it comes to the markets with the tariff component. What should we actually be paying attention to?
Yeah, it certainly feels like Christmas morning that we're getting these earnings results, especially given the lack of data and the political developments we've seen over the last couple of sessions. We're hoping for a nice rerun of the last couple of quarters where analysts pencil in high single-digit estimates and companies beat with low double-digit results. I think the plot twist, though, this time would be, can companies start to quantify the impact of tariffs on their results? In the second quarter, CEOs talked about the potential for the punch from tariffs to impact their businesses. Now that that punch has been delivered, can companies quantify that? We've seen negative earnings revisions in areas like consumer staples and materials. We may start to see the margins of those businesses impacted by tariffs this quarter.
In terms of the banks,
yeah,
we're obviously getting those numbers. Of all of the companies that you want to see this quarter to try to better understand what's really happening, you want to see what?
So financials is so critical, Andrew. When you think about the fact that the stock market has been the biggest driver of the U.S. economy, financials are in the front seat of that. So we're looking in particular like areas like wealth management and capital markets, as investing in financial outcomes or financial assets have really produced superior outcomes. We're watching for potentially more guidance on M&A from mid-sized banks that are expected to see 30+% earnings results this quarter. The yield curve is steeper than it was a year ago, another potential tailwind. So the fact that the market is up as much as it is over the past year, we think is going to be a significant tailwind for the financial sector. Tech is another one, of course, the other area with the biggest positive earnings revisions, 5% up to about 20% earnings expected in the third quarter. We'll be watching that. There's almost a symbiotic relationship between tech and financials here, is because tech has driven the market higher. That's helping these wealth management businesses as well.
Of the banks, is there one or two that you like more than another?
We don't do individual stocks, so we're watching the sector here more broadly. I do think regional banks have the most sensitivity to this. So looking down in market cap, mid-cap banks have been an area that we have favored, given some of the potential M&A that we see coming down the pipeline and some more exposure there to the U.S. economy.
And finally, how do you think about some of the smaller companies on the Russell, for example? Do you think that they're out of favor, going to be in favor?
So we have been underweight small caps. Almost 40% of the Russell 2000 index is comprised of unprofitable companies. We are focused right now on companies that make money. We're drafting off the equity market in our views right now with an overweight to higher quality companies. We're fully invested, but we're not chasing junk here. We do think if there's some more volatility here, you could feel it in the smaller parts of the market. Mid caps, again, have been the sweet spot to manage the valuation risk, the concentration risk that's inherent in U.S. large cap stocks, but really staying away from some of the more speculative corners of the market here as we head into the last couple of months here of the year.
So she's staying away from risk on assets in the stock market for the Russell. Another local, can we have a comedy show? Candyman, yeah. Yes, Candyman, by the way, you are on the call list today. So those one-on-one coaching calls will be taking place as soon as this live stream is about 20 minutes after this live stream is over. So make sure you guys are ready for those calls. How low can Bitcoin's price go if 110K Bitcoin support fails? Bitcoin's rebound after a major weekend plunge showed signs of fading on Tuesday. The top crypto dipped 4.65% to around $110,000, mirroring a global equity slump after China imposed restrictions on 5 U.S. firms linked to South Korea's largest shipbuilder, warning of further retaliations. Bitcoin's 110K level is repeatedly flipped between resistance and support in 2025. Earlier rejections triggered a 19 to 30% decline, while post-July rebounds from this zone fueled a 12 to 15% rally. Let's examine how Bitcoin could go if 110K support fails. And like I told you guys earlier in the stream, these kind of pieces, these kind of articles, to me are a metric that they're trying to convince you we're going lower so that people pile on their shorts and then we get a short squeeze and we go higher instead. Not financial advice, right? Multiple analysts suggest that the odds of Bitcoin's price declining towards $100,000 increases if 110K support level fails to hold. That includes a giant bullish channel highlighted by chartist BitBull, which showed BTC's price fluctuating inside the broadening wedge, as you can see on your screen. As of Tuesday, Bitcoin was in the middle of a correction stage after testing the wedge's upper trend line as resistance. Historically, such corrections exhausted near the channel's lower trend line, which coincided with 100,000 to 103,000. This region also aligns with Bitcoin's 50-week exponential moving average and the 1.618 fib retracement line, lending technical weight to its potential target zone. So will we retest the 50-day moving average? Bitcoin is now trading below the it's now trading below a 0.5% standard deviation, near 119,000. No, it's not. It's trading at 112,800. The MVRV extreme deviation of pricing bands is an on-chain model that tracks how far the current market price deviates from Bitcoin's fair value, based on what most holders paired for their coins, the realized price. Historically, when Bitcoin loses that 0.5 band as support, it tends to revert towards the mean band, which is the yellow band on your screen, right down here, as you can see. A similar mean reversion phase occurred during the December 2024 to April 2025 correction, when Bitcoin dropped from that level 66,980 to 53,900 before rebounding sharply. This fractal suggests the current setup may simply be another cooling off phase, while the broader bull market, within the broader bull market, a retest and shakeout of access leverage and overheated valuations before the next leg higher, which we are doing. We're shaking out those longs, but I think we are allowing the shorts to build up here, guys, and then we're going to see a big short squeeze, just like we saw the long squeeze to the downside. We're going to see a short squeeze to the upside in rather short order. We could consolidate for a week or two, though. That's perfectly normal. We could see some dips and stuff, and in the meantime, I'm going to be buying every little bit of it. Every little bit of it. All right, what else do we have? The government shutdown updates. Let's check out what is the latest and greatest. They enter week 2.
Now, with more on the impact of the shutdown, Libby Cantrill, PIMCO, head of U.S. Public Policy. We could go down the list of things to talk about. I guess the latest I saw was that President Trump said some of these agencies are not coming back. If Democrats take a note of the possible negative effects on them from keeping it closed?
Yeah, I mean, I think that just in general, both sides think that they have a winning hand here, and our expectation is that the government may stay shut down at least until November. We may actually go into Thanksgiving with a government shutdown. Republicans have, rightly said that they have passed a funding bill that historically Democrats have supported, a clean funding bill at current levels. Democrats, however, obviously have been sort of in the wilderness, have had a hard time coalescing around an issue, have had a hard time sort of resonating with their base, and they believe this is a political winner by drawing attention to the expiring ACA subsidies.
When Congressman Lawler walked up to Leader Jeffries and said, here's a 1-year extension of exactly what you want. Will you sign on to that and reopen the government? And he didn't say yes. Could they do that? Was that an actual offer to Leader Jeffries?
I mean, in my view, is whatever happens in the Senate is the most important indicator. I think that the House is a little perfunctory right now.
Gone.
Obviously, the House is gone.
Yeah.
And the fact that the House is likely to be gone at least until next week shows you that this government shutdown is going to be much more long-lasting
Well, the House,
than people expected.
Why? The Senate could vote on it today if they got five more Democrats.
Yeah, and I think what Leader Thune has said is that may not be such a simple vote for Republicans in the Senate. I think this is the issue, is that this is not just about government funding. This is about the Obamacare and about this extension of these expiring subsidies. And many Republicans historically have not supported either. And so this is not something that is going to be super straightforward for the Republican leaders in order to get passed. So this is why, again, kind of all signs are pointing to, from a market's perspective, all signs are pointing to a much more prolonged shutdown than what people expected. And that obviously has then nonlinear economic impacts the longer this lasts.
So the Senate soon might not be able to promise that we'll do something with the subsidies, because he might not have the support with
Yes, and this needs, and this needs 60 votes, both the funding of the government, but also the ACA subsidies. And so this is, again, this is not going to be straightforward. We've been, sort of warning our clients into the, before even the fall, in the summer, that should the government shut down, there was no sort of natural catalyst for it to reopen. And that is proving correct. Now, again, I think the market is sort of shrugging this off. This is not a big deal. But, our view is that the longer this occurs, the more that you have 1.5 million people not getting paid.
Well, the military
CPI data collection's not happening. I mean, this starts to actually have an economic.
Should Trump have found a way to, the president have found a way to pay the military, or if they weren't getting paid, would that put more pressure on Democrats to come to the table?
I think he just made the calculus that it's better to not play politics with
the military.
With the military, probably a good political choice as well. But yeah, I think that's probably what the calculus is. I think there's some questions about, can he actually reappropriate some of this tariff money to pay for this food, supplemental nutrition program? I think there's, maybe some questions about that. Again, is anyone going to litigate that? You can't just
take longer to litigate it than hopefully it'll take the government to reopen.
Well, yes, I know, and we're not trying to be Chicken Little here, but again, they're just, the political incentives are such that both sides are quite dug in, and that's pointing to, again, a much longer shutdown.
Okay, so let's talk about that. The assumption that the government was going to reopen is one that we've all been victim to, that we've all kind of played along with.
Yeah.
You saw things otherwise. The assumption that something would get done with the healthcare vouchers was also something that people are making. You think that's not the case? Because those two things are both pretty big headwinds.
I think any sort of resolution to this is going to require some sort of compromise on healthcare. It's just a question of how long it takes to get there. And maybe it is just a one-year extension. Again, I would sort of discount what the folks in the House are saying. I think that all of the action is going to be in the Senate. And the Senate is back in session. The House is not back in session. So, again, it's not to say that this is completely out of touch or out of reach here. But, again, it seems like it's going to take longer to actually get it.
When is that No Kings rally that's coming? Is it?
I don't have it on my calendar.
It's not.
I'm not sure when that's happening.
I believe I know. I think it's Sunday.
Is it Sunday?
And then I think is it
getting ready
this weekend?
Yeah, exactly. No, I was kidding. That was funny though, right? Kind of funny.
Kind of funny.
But again, I think
is there something to it that Schumer and others don't want those people coming into town if they've caved? And they want, because you said
yes. I mean, yes.
What do you mean?
You know better than I do.
No, I don't. So this is this is a softball.
Totally.
You said they're in the wilderness and they're waiting for these left crazies to come in and to be able to say we're standing.
Those
tough.
are your words, not mine. I think
you already said that they're in the wilderness and it's all political.
Well,
I'm trying to be nice.
Look, there is still obviously a lot of debate within the Democratic Party about the loss in November and what was the catalyst last November. This is the one kind of issue that voters really care about. If you look at the top issues that voters actually vote on, healthcare is always in the top three. So they are sort of making the political calculus that even though it's inconvenient for the government to shut down, and again, I think as a markets practitioner, we're just worried about these sort of nonlinear effects, both in terms of data collection, in terms of consumption behavior, and also you're already having some headwinds to the economy going into the end of this year.
It's not good to have all those videos of the same Democrats talking about they would never, if Republicans shut down the government for this, it's the worst. They're the worst human beings on the planet for what they're doing to the government. No one's going to fix health care in the next week.
In 3 weeks. Yeah, but
You need to get the government open, and then, I'm sorry, then, Republicans are in charge. Then you got to work with the other party. I'm sorry.
And Joe, as you know,
it's a big, mean world out there.
On how things are, not how they should be. I mean, I think that this is going to be, this is intractable. And as a result, pointing to a longer shutdown.
Yeah, shutdowns solve nothing, guys. They solve nothing. You can't work. You can't solve anything, right? What else do we have? Alfredo, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. Fed Chair Powell sounds alarm on jobs while holding the line on rate cuts. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell reaffirmed a measured stance on monetary policy, suggesting the central bank is slowly transitioning away from tightening conditions, but remains cautious about cutting rates too soon. Speaking on Monday, Powell noted that while inflation has eased, I think they mean Tuesday, not Monday, has eased from its peak, it continues to hover around the Fed's 2% target. And that's the risk to employment, and that the risks to employment have begun to increase. Quote, the downside risk to employment appears to have risen, Powell said, adding that the Fed will continue making data-driven decisions as it navigates the balance between climbing inflation and supporting the labor markets. Powell also addressed renewed scrutiny over the Fed's reserve's $7.4 trillion balance sheet following comments from Treasury Secretary Bessent, who criticized the central bank's post-2008 expansion. Defending the Fed's approach, Powell argued that any adjustments would be deliberate and measured, emphasizing the value of the current ample reserves model that allows rate control without daily interventions. He reminded lawmakers that since 2008, the Fed has remitted over $900 million to the U.S. Treasury, underscoring its broader fiscal contributions despite political pushback, avoiding a new taper tantrum? Did you mean temper tantrum? Powell cautioned that the Fed aims to avoid market turbulence like the 2013 taper tantrum. Or the 2019 repo market strain. Our goal is to ensure a smooth normalization process, he said, signaling a slow, steady path towards policy neutrality rather than an abrupt pivot. A message Marx interpreted as reassurance amid. But here's the thing. I mean, you can't say you're trying to do things slowly. You don't want to be too aggressive one way or the other and then not cut rates for almost a year. That's too aggressive in one direction, right? So which one is it? All right, what else do we have? That's right, baby. It keeps going. Bitmine expands its Ethereum holdings amid market volatility. Bitmine, led by Tom Lee, purchased 202,037 Ethereum for $827 million, capitalizing on market volatility to expand its Ethereum holdings. The acquisition highlights institutional confidence in Ethereum, potentially influencing market stability and encouraging similar strategies amid current volatility. Bitmine had acquired 202,037 Ethereum for $827 million during the market downturn. The purchase was influenced by market volatility. So basically, the market crashed. Bitmine, not being emotional, purchased a whole crap load of Ethereum, while retail investors who were panicking were happy to sell them that Ethereum at a loss. So, very bullish. Tom Lee has made me very, very bullish on Ethereum long-term projections. And of course, JP Morgan plans direct crypto trading for clients, but delays custody services. JP Morgan Chase is developing infrastructure to allow clients to trade cryptocurrencies directly through the bank, even though they tell you that crypto is a bad investment and a pet rock. Now they want to collect fees on trading on their platform. Very interesting. Like I said before, never trust Jamie Dimon, never trust JP Morgan. They have been wrong about crypto more times than even artificial intelligence can keep track of. So that's that for that. I was going to get into the whole Godza thing, but we're not going to dive into that today. We're already well over an hour. So let's go have another look over at the Bitcoin chart before we get out of here. All right, so sitting above 112,565 still, $113,050. The daily close we're looking for is above 114,000. That's where you want to keep your barometer today, guys. I got to get over to the Patreon. I have some one-on-one coaching calls I got to take care of over there. Get over there, book your coaching call today. I also dropped an advisory video in our trading group as well. If you want to get in on our daily trades, get over there, check it out, guys. It's less than the price of a cup of coffee to be a member of our trading group, and everybody is absolutely rushing it over there. Also, all of our training courses are absolutely free to our Patreon members, and we also have a free side to our Patreon where all of our YouTube content, not only from Crypto Future but from Crypto Blueprint, are available for free along with our newsletter. So check that out and more, guys. The link is in the chat. It's in the description, or you can use the QR code at the top of your screen. Click like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless.